Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Here we are on a very glum Tuesday for Melbourne people. We are so sorry to hear that you've been extended for 7 days and your lockdown. It really sucks. And we're in it, I guess the only silver lining, and is it a silver lining that we're in it together? Anyway, sending all our love to you from Sydney. Anyway, good morning everyone. Good morning, Nikki in Melbourne. So sorry. It really sucks big time for everybody and what it's doing to industry, and just very, very difficult. But let's try to have a distraction and not think about it for the next half an hour or 45 minutes and think about this amazing thing you're about to bake. And I've just baked one. I'm not going to show you yet. We're going to build up to it. It is seriously, I have made this so many times and I'm still amazed when it comes out of the oven and what? I made that in 5 minutes. Just wait till you see how good it is. So it's a soup and bread day in Melbourne. Yeah, it's a soup and bread day here too. It's actually really cold. Looks like a beautiful Sydney winter's day, but when you go out, it has a wind chill that is chilly. Anyway, great to have you all here. So special to be in my kitchen and you're in your kitchens or wherever you are, and we're all together, okay? And it's a community that we're building and it makes me very, very happy. So please type questions, comments. I will try to read them as best I can. It is a challenge, as you know, as I've told you before, to cook and read and answer, but I'm getting better at it, I hope. And it's a challenge for you to cook and type, but hopefully you're getting better at it too. Today we are making Irish soda bread, and I'm going to tell you about it and who gave us this fabulous recipe as soon as it's in the oven, because we've got time, okay? When it's in the oven, I'd love to chat. I've got a few things to tell you, some exciting things, some great things, but let's start cooking because I want to show you that when you're, and especially at this time when we can't always get to the shops and they don't always have what we want, hopefully you've all got flour and milk, because that's pretty much, and lemon or vinegar, that's all you need. The recipe is from this book, Monday Morning Cooking Club. It's always about the food, which is the one with us on the cover, and it's the recipe is in this book. But what happens is a lot of recipes get lost in our books and people don't go back and find them. So it's my job to bring them to your attention and show you what amazing things we have for you to cook. So this is the loaf of bread you're going to make when it's like, I don't have any bread. I need bread. I need it now. It's 11 o'clock. It's lunch in an hour and I need to make a loaf of bread. And this is the one. You will be amazed, okay? So let's go through the ingredients that we're going to need. And I'll tell you who gave us this recipe because it's a lovely story in a minute. We're going to need 3 cups, which is 450 grams of plain flour. Not bread flour, just plain, ordinary flour, all-purpose flour. Then we're going to need 3 things to add to that. We're going to need 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Obviously, Irish soda bread is the leavening agent. So instead of yeast, we are using baking soda, which is bicarbonate of soda. We need 1 teaspoon of sugar. I'm using caster sugar just because that's what I use for all my baking. But if we've got white sugar or brown sugar, that is also perfect. Just 1 teaspoon and 1 teaspoon of salt. They're the 3 things you need. Then, to make it really happen, you need buttermilk. Now, when you're using baking soda in a recipe, you need something with acid, something acidic to make it work. That's what makes bubbles form and the rise happen. So we are using buttermilk, which is a traditional thing in Irish soda bread. If you do not have buttermilk, and I noticed that Coles online was out of buttermilk, so if you don't have it, it's fine. You can use milk which you're going to sour yourself, and you need to do it this way. For 350 mils of milk, which is what is required in this recipe, which is 1 1/3 cups plus 1 tablespoon. You need 1 1/4 cups of regular milk, full cream, whatever you use, milk, plus 2 tablespoons, that's 8 teaspoons, okay, because we're talking Australian tablespoons, of either lemon juice or white vinegar. And try to use a white vinegar without a big flavour, because you don't really want the bread to be flavoured with it. We're looking for just an Irish soda bread. We want the vinegar in there as the acid, okay? So that's 1 1/4 cups of milk plus 2 tablespoons of lemon juice or vinegar. That is instead of 350 mils of regular buttermilk from the carton. One word on the buttermilk: when you pour it out of your carton, before you pour it out, you need to shake it because it separates, and you need to give it a good shake before you measure it out. Okay, so big mixing bowl. Oven is on very hot, okay? 220 degrees Celsius. That's really hot, okay? That's my way to describe it. If you've got a fan oven, you probably need it on 200, 205, something like that. And you will need just an oven baking tray like that, which you need to grease. I'm going to do the shortcut grease, which is using olive oil spray. I use this for so many things. I really don't like the flavour of that canola spray on my food, okay? So I'm not going to use the canola spray on this. I'm going to use this, okay? And I don't want baking paper. I want oil, because I want the bottom of the loaf to get hot quickly, to brown, and baking paper sort of prevents that a bit, I think. So we've got our baking tray. Let's start mixing the ingredients. Either a whisk or a sieve to combine the dry ingredients. A whisk works just as well. So in my big bowl, I'm going to add my baking soda, or bicarbonate of soda, sugar, and salt. Okay, 3 things. That's it, plus the flour. And I'm just going to mix it together using the whisk. Any questions so far, please ask them. Happy to answer. I'm looking. Okay, so mix it together. You can do it in a sieve into a bowl, but I find this really just quick and easy. We're just combining the ingredients really well. This doesn't have a long kneading process, this bread, so you want to get your dry ingredients well combined evenly, okay? So that's what we're doing here, mixing it. I've also got some rolled oats, which I put in the recipe. They're not in the original recipe, but I love them on the top of the loaf. They look really cool and really rustic, and just how I want my soda bread to look. And I just put a little handful in the bread as well. Don't have to, just something I like to do. Yes, Tasha, that is 3 cups of flour. In our kitchen, 1 cup is 150 grams. So 450 grams is exactly 3 cups. Baking powder instead of bicarb, no. Baking powder has bicarb in it, and you need, this is a recipe, you need bicarb. If you use baking powder instead, and I actually don't know how to convert it, I would suggest that you use, and this is like off the top of my head and I could be completely wrong, and maybe someone online who knows better can correct me, I would probably use 2 teaspoons of baking powder if you didn't have baking soda, okay? Because we're looking for the element of soda in there to react with the buttermilk. Okay, so baking powder and baking soda are not interchangeable generally. Okay, dry ingredients, very well whisked together. Now, we need a wooden spoon. We're going to use our hands in a minute. And we are going to pour the buttermilk in. Now, you can make a well in the bottom. I mean, you don't really need to with this, because we're just really mixing the dry and the wet. But sometimes it is easier to start. And because my bowl is moving, and I don't want it to, I'll just put something underneath it. Okay, so I'm just going to do that, add the liquid in. You don't really need to do it like that. And I've got a bit in there that's hard to get out. I'm going to have to get a spatula in a minute, but in the meantime, I'm just going to mix this nicely. I'm just gently combining the dry and the wet. That is the flour, bicarb, salt, sugar, and buttermilk. And it's going to be some sort of a rough mixture. It's looks quite not coming together, but that's fine, it will in a sec. Is slightly sour milk an okay substitute for buttermilk? I guess so, but I think it's worthwhile adding a bit of lemon to that to sour it properly, because you want it properly soured and curdled, okay? That's what we're looking for. But yes, I imagine it would work well. Okay, so I'm just using a spatula. I want every last bit of this buttermilk out. Okay, and then I'm going to tip it onto my bench in a minute, and I'm going to give it a quick knead. So if you've got one of these, this is an indispensable tool, costs about $3. It's a pastry scraper and I absolutely love it. If you haven't got one, it's worth investing those big bucks and buying one. Use it all the time for all work with dough. Okay, it helps in so many ways. Okay, so we're mixing I don't know why I did that and put it back in, but anyway, okay. It's starting to come together. Put in a bit of muscle behind it, and it'll start to come together to form sort of a ball in the bowl. That's what I'm trying to say. Hi everybody, and welcome to those who are just coming in. So good to have you here. I am making Irish soda bread. I am showing you that you can make bread at home of course it's going to take me 20 minutes because I'm chatting too much, but at home it's literally 5 minutes and 25 in the oven. It's a miracle, you'll see. And it is bloody delicious. All right, that's good. I'm happy with that. I'm going to move this away now, and I'm going to tip it onto my bench. It's now a lovely ball. And again, pastry scraper is great for this. It's also good when you have been, I'll talk about that in a sec. Remind me to talk about the pastry scraper. I'm just going to give it a nice knead. It's not like making a challah where I want to knead it for 10 minutes, but I do want to give it a nice knead so that it's not dry and rough and it sort of comes together as a reasonably smooth dough, okay? It's not a hugely smooth dough. If you find it too sticky, you can tell by how it feels. Mine is a bit sticky. I've always got a bowl of flour by the side when I'm working with bread or dough. And I'm just going to take a little bit and I'm just going to put it on the bench. I don't want it dry, but it's just a little bit sticky for me now, okay? You have to judge that for yourself. You know, it depends how precisely you measured everything today. And the flour, every flour is different. I think that everyone has to be able to tell, is it too sticky? No, it's not sticking to my hand, so I think I'm happy with it, okay? This is great, I want to tell you, for cleaning the bench after you've worked with dough and it's all sticky on the bench and you get a wet cloth and it's like glue. This is, instead of that, you just scrape it up and it's really good. Just had to tell you that. Okay, so if you want to be a little bit pedantic, you can weigh your dough and you can divide it into two, because we're making 2 loaves. And it's better, I guess, if they're the same, but you don't have to. You can eyeball it, but I'm going to weigh it just because. And that is 826, so I need 413 per loaf. 430, so nearly there. Okay, so 2 loaves the same size. Okay, and I'm just going to give that a little knead. Again, now it's a bit sticky. Now, I didn't put any oats in this. If you want to put some oats in, what you can do is just sprinkle them on the bench and they'll just knead into the dough as you give it a quick knead, okay? Or we could have put them in earlier, which probably would have been better. But between us, we put them in a bit late. Okay, it doesn't matter. I've just put in maybe a tablespoon of rolled oats. Okay, so everyone, shape your loaf in one of them into a round and flatten it. Don't mind me. And we'll just set it aside and we'll get to the next one. So I'm just giving it, you can see it's a little knead. It's probably not even a minute's worth. Again, it's a bit sticky, so a little bit of flour. And my aim here is not to knead and knead and knead. It's just to form a smooth dough. That's all I'm trying to do here, okay? I don't want it too rough looking. It's rustic, definitely, but if you don't do this knead, it just is a little bit all over the place. So I've got 2 sort of flat balls there, and I just want to now flatten them a little tiny bit. They are going to rise, okay, and I probably want it about this wide. Can you tell how big that is with my hand? It's probably just bigger than my hand, okay? About, yeah, I can't give you a measurement, but that's the size that I think would be ideal. And I'm going to do the other one the same. Okay, and now, if you want to have oats on the top, which I really love the look of, I just put them on the bench like that, and then press it in. Okay, and then they stick. Well, they're supposed to stick. Okay, and then put it onto your prepared tray. Again, same again, pressing down. Okay, beautiful. Now I have my 2 loaves on my oiled tray, like this. And remember, they are going to rise and they are going to go that way as well, width-wise and height. So you need to have some space between them. Okay. Now, sharp knife. We're going to make a cross indentation in the top of it that will help it bake through and make it look really beautiful at the end. Okay, so just cut across and across again. Okay, so easy. Okay, so that's all I've done. I've shaped the loaves, I've flattened them a little bit, I've put rolled oats on the top because I love how that looks. You can leave it out if you want. And I've done a cross indentation. It's probably about this 1/2 centimetre to 1 centimetre deep. And they're my 2 loaves. I'm going to put them in the oven now. The oven's on really hot, 220. Nothing else on top. That's it. No glazing, nothing at all. So in the oven, and I'm going to put my timer on for 25. You do the same. Maybe put it on for 20, okay? And I'm talking to you, but my timer's here, okay? Maybe put your timer on for 20 and then have a look at it. I've had it to burn. It's such a hot oven. Okay, now I'm going to tell you the story. I'm going to show you mine that I made earlier. I don't know if it'll still be here in 25 minutes. Oh, hey, Gabby. Gabby's in Brisbane. Nice of you to say hi. Good to have you here. How's it going in Brisbane? I think you're doing okay at the moment, actually. Okay, so this is mine that I made earlier. Look how, I mean, seriously? I made that in 5 minutes. Look at it. The top, the oats, the bottom, golden and crusty. This is a really beautiful, quick loaf of bread. I'm going to talk about for a minute, and I want to show you a couple of other things. My hands are very dirty, but anyway, all right. Get to that later. Okay, I want to just talk about a couple of things. Firstly, this recipe came to us for our Monday Morning Cooker Club collection from this gorgeous lady by the name of Myrna Kalmanson. And Myrna lives in Melbourne, and she is Irish. She was born and raised in Dublin and moved to Sydney about 15 years ago, I think it is now. And we've met her and her gorgeous daughter, Mish, who have both given us recipes for the book. And she's such a lovely lady and tells us such beautiful stories which are in the book about her life in Dublin before coming to Australia, and how on Fridays in the Jewish Orthodox area of Dublin, all their fishmongers would go on a Friday morning and they'd put all the fish in baby prams and they'd wheel them up and down the street, and all the ladies at the households there would come out and buy their fish. And she told the funny story of how when she was pregnant with her son, Myrna, she was craving fish, right? So she just could not get enough fish, and she went to the fish markets every week and like ate so much fish that the fishmonger said to her in an Irish accent, which I'm not going to do, oh, you know, you're going to have a mermaid rather than a baby. And it turns out, she says, he's quite the merman, because this son is now obsessed with fish and has a fish tank in his house. So there you go. That's the story of Myrna Kalmanson and the fish. And this is her Irish soda bread. I just wanted to give a quick shout out, since we're all freezing in Melbourne particularly and in Sydney today, and I have been standing in the kitchen every day, as many of you have, and doing all sorts of jobs that you may not have been doing before, and everyone's working hard, whatever they're doing. I was sent this beautiful thing from my friend, two of my friends in Melbourne. Nikki and Tony have this fantastic business called Tonic, T-O-N-I-C, like gin and tonic, although it's nothing to do with gin. And they have all these beautiful products, and Nikki sent me, I think when we went into lockdown some time ago, this. Now, this is a faux fur, fluffy, softest thing you have ever seen in your life, and you put it in the microwave and heat it for 2 minutes. So when I have a sore back or whatever, and some of you know I've been going to physio, this is unreal. And I was using it last night and all morning. Sometimes I get a sore shoulder, and oh my God, just had to give a shout out. They've just got it back in stock of this, okay? It's Tonic Fluffy Heat Pillow. I don't know exactly what it's called, but go to their website and have a look. Really, I mean, I'm in love with it. Like truly, truly in love with it. The only sad thing is when the heat goes and you've got to go back down to the microwave and heat it up again. But I really love it. So just had to give a little shout out about that. Now, let's talk about how we're going to eat this soda bread. Not that anyone needs a lesson in how to eat, but I just put together a little board to show you what I fancied today, okay? Just a little fancy, which is really, you know, oh, nearly lost that. So this is what I've prepared, a little board, and it's just for me, but I thought I'd make it nice. You know, we're in lockdown, we're not going out, and it makes it a bit special. And okay, so I've got my favorite butter, which is of course Pepe Saya salted butter, which our family is obsessed with. Honestly, we go through one of these a week. Is that a lot? I think it is for a family of 4, and absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, so Mel just said you can buy the heat packs at Studio B in Bellevue Hill. Oh, that's great to know. Thanks, Mel. Thank you. Yes, and as Jessie Goldberg says, is this a board of accoutrement? Because she made, yeah, you're wondering why I'm talking about this, but I'll tell you, Jessie, who's my daughter, who's been on with me, who's coming on Saturday, made bagels from our second book. If you've got this book, The Feast Goes On, we've got an amazing bagel recipe in it, and Jessie made it at her place on Sunday, and she put it on Instagram, and she put all the bagels, and like she did like salmon, and I think there was pastrami, and there were cream cheese and whatever, all the things, and she posted on Instagram and said bagels and accoutrement, right? And I just went, oh, how did you know that word? It's such a good word. So that's why we were talking about accoutrement. So this is the bread and the accoutrement that go with it. And okay, so back to my accoutrement. We've got Pepe Saya butter, the best. If you've never tried it, try it. They've also got a really good website, and they sell all their products, and their buttermilk is also outstanding, really outstanding, as is their ghee if you're using ghee for anything. And I love using their ghee, like when I'm making strudels with phyllo and you need to brush it with butter or ghee. The ghee is fantastic. Okay, so the butter, I've got a lovely butter. I've got a block of my favorite cheddar, a piece of my favorite cheddar, which at the moment is, sorry, it's from England, called Jack's Cheddar. I just buy it at my local store, and it's really yummy. But use any cheddar you like. Yum. So good. And then I thought we need a bit of jam in our accoutrement today. And I've got this wild cherry jam from Agri Montana from Simon Johnson, which I also love. So I've got bread, which I'm going to cut and show you inside it. And I want you to listen carefully. I didn't plug my microphone in. Hold on, I'm going to do it now. I just see that I forgot to do that. So many things to remember every morning. I'm going to plug it in because I want you to hear this, okay? I'm going to put the microphone right next to the bread. Okay, listen first. Okay, that's the bread. That, just what you just made, that's in the oven. Hear that? That is crusty. Okay, nice, huh? So I'm going to take my bread. I mean, I love the smell of this bread. It is just lovely, and it looks like Australia. See, I made an Australia-shaped piece of bread today, and I don't really need to show you how to cook it. It seems a bit silly. How to cook it, how to eat it. But you know what? Hey, we're here, and I might as well. And I've got to have lunch too, right? So I'm going to give this a really good smear of butter, okay? I'm just going to do half a piece because it's going to be well and truly loaded. And then I'm going to put, yes, I'm going to put butter and cheese. Don't judge me, people, okay? Who likes butter and cheese? Anyone else? We all do, don't we? Just I remember as a kid, and this is going to give away my age a bit, eating Tip Top Wonder White, or before that even, just white bread with, my parents always had Meadowlea margarine, which I've got a soft spot for, with Meadowlea margarine and a slice of sliced cheese, like from the packet. How good, and sometimes even peanut butter on top of that. Okay, and I'm going to put a dollop of jam. You know what, perhaps the jam could have gone underneath, to be honest, in between the butter and the cheese. But that's how I'm going to eat it. Someone said, can this bread be dairy-free? Can this bread be dairy-free? I don't know. I don't know what it would be like if you made it with water and lemon juice. Like, you'd have to try it. The buttermilk is such a big part of it. It's such a big ingredient, you know? I'm not sure. I don't know the answer. Okay, can I have a bite now, just to tell you if it's any good? Just 'cause I'm hungry. Okay, here goes. It's going to be good. Who likes this? Like who? Show me, give me a little heart if you think you like this combo. Really good. It's absolutely delicious. I have no more words. I'd like to stand here and eat it all, and then you can say, yeah, we watched a video today of someone standing and eating her lunch, which is not really that exciting, is it? So I will stop eating now. I'm glad to all these hearts. I love it, and thumbs up. Everyone can relate. So you've got this beautiful loaf of bread. It is best on the day of baking. I have to be honest. If you're going to save it and eat it tomorrow, it would be beautiful toasted, but it would need to be toasted, okay? Just absolutely beautiful. Yeah, so Vanessa would lose the jam and melt the cheese. Yeah, it would make a really nice toasted sandwich as well. It's just it's a dense but good bread with a beautiful rustic smell and flavour, and I think it's a winner. So that is it. I'm not going to wait till your breads are ready, because I know that you'll take yours out of the oven when it looks like that, okay? It's going to rise well. It's going to open at the top. What I didn't talk about, and I'm sorry, or did I, is if you don't have buttermilk, I did say to use the lemon juice or the vinegar, but mix it in. So mix in the lemon juice and the vinegar, and while you're getting everything else ready, just let it sit for 5 minutes and let it curdle. Then it's ready to use, okay? I forgot to say that 5 minutes is sort of important, but I think it would happen anyway. You just do everything, and by the time you got to it, it would be curdled. So everyone, take it out when it is this color. It could be a bit darker even. I just didn't want to overcook it, and this was exactly 25 minutes, okay? Bottom needs to be that color. Wait till you smell your bread. I'm so excited for you, actually. And now I just want to tell you about tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm back again. It's going to be a longer session tomorrow, so get your cup of tea ready and settle in tomorrow, because I'm going to show you how to make pita bread that is... yeah, my cake from yesterday. Thank you for reminding me. I'm going to talk about that in one sec. Thank you. Good reminder. I'm going to show you how to make pita bread in 5 minutes. I mean, it has to rise for maybe 30, 40 minutes, but it is such an easy thing. 1 bowl, 1 spoon. You need dry yeast, you need flour, and you need water and salt. That's all you need. There's nothing else you can use if you don't have yeast. You need to have some for this recipe. And they're gorgeous little white flour pita breads that are just beautiful with a dip or with a soup, and I'll show you how easy it is to make them. And then Michael Rantisi, who is, for those of you who aren't in Sydney or don't know him, he is the chef and owner of one of our favourite restaurants called Kepos Street Kitchen, and the sister restaurant Kepos & Co. Amazing modern Middle Eastern food, amazing. So he is a chef, and he's going to come on while your pitas are rising and show you his quick white bean dip. He's the hummus expert, I think, in Sydney, and he's going to show you his white bean dip, which is next level deliciousness and super simple with things you will hopefully have in your pantry. White beans, tahini, lemon, salt, maybe olive oil.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Siri. Excuse Siri for interrupting us. So that's tomorrow at 11:30. Thursday, I'm doing a special event at 10 a.m, so there's no class at 11:30 on Thursday, with the Sydney Jewish Writers Festival. I'm going to be online with this fantastic lady from the United States. She's in Virginia. Her name is Marcia Friedman. She's in our books. She's in our books twice. She is an Italian Jewish girl who has such a great story of her heritage to tell and a beautiful recipe to share with us, and we'll both be cooking, and that'll be fun. And then Friday, please join me 11:30 again. I'm going to be with myself in the kitchen with a special guest coming in while I make egg and onion, which is my favourite Friday night dip, with Ilan Kidron, my I was going to say superstar, frontman, singer-songwriter. Ilan Kidron is fantastic. He's going to come on and sing a couple of tunes while we're waiting for our onions to fry.
Could you try again?
I don't know why Siri keeps talking to me. I never even said Siri. I have to be quiet. Anyway, okay, so that's this week. And then Saturday, of course, I'm making French toast from Hulla with Jessie Goldberg. and that'll be fun. Just a bit of fun. And if you know how to make French toast, just come on and say hi to us. And if you don't know how to make French toast, this is going to teach you. Now, let's talk about the cake. I did talk about the cake the other day. So when I made the cinnamon cake with you all last week, and if you haven't seen that video, go and look for it because it's a really good cake. It reminded me of a cake from my childhood. Hold on one sec, that's just 15 minutes. I wanted to show you. Hold on one sec, bear with me. I want to show you what my loaves look like now. It's been 15 minutes. And you saw them when they went in. There's no trick photography here. I mean, have a look at that. Like, seriously, unbelievable. See, it's a miracle. But really, cooking is a miracle. So that's going in for another 10. I might still be here in 10 minutes, but we'll see. Back to the cinnamon cake. So when I had a taste of the cinnamon cake I made, it reminded me of this cake. So when I was young, in my teens, I used to go to my Auntie Myrna's house. We used to go there a lot for beautiful feasts. She was an amazing cook. And she had a cake in her kitchen always. And I remember sneaking into the kitchen because my parents didn't approve of me eating cake. That's a story for another day. Sneak into the kitchen and eat this amazing, it was a slab cake. It was always in a rectangle, cinnamon cake, okay? And they called it boemeltorte. And in Yiddish, I think that my father used to tell me it meant oil cake. It's from a lady called Mrs. Gunn in Melbourne. For years, literally for the last 30, 40 years, I have been looking for Mrs. Gunn's recipe and her cake, and I have not been able to find it. I got close to someone through another auntie of mine, but I never found it. And it's sad. I'm really sad about it because I'd really like to find it. So when I had a bite of this cinnamon cake last week, I thought, oh, you know what? It reminds me of that cake. Maybe I can try to recreate the cake of my childhood with that one as a base. So that's what I wanted to show you the other day because it had just come out of the oven. So this is it. And it smells like the cake. So this is a quarter of it. You can see the cinnamon swirl. That's what the top, and that's the size of it. I made it in a square. And it smells like that cake smelled, but the taste and the texture of the top, it was a bit sugary, is not quite. So I've got to go back again. This is try number 3, and I'm going to go back till I get it right, okay? I've got to fix up the cinnamon swirl in this one. I've got to make the top sugary, and then as soon as I work it out, which I hopefully will, I will share it with all of you. Anyway, that's my cinnamon cake story. Any questions about the soda bread that's in the oven? Anyone got any questions, or anyone got any questions about anything else? Happy to answer them before I head off. Please ask something if you like. Otherwise, I'm going to sign off and see you till tomorrow. So which book is which in? This soda bread is in this book. We've got a beautiful chapter in this book called Bread and Dips, which was actually, Dips and Bread, which was actually the inspiration for this week of dips and bread. Would you add a veggie like zucchini to the bread? I would not. No. Are you talking about the bread? I think you are. I wouldn't. Could you make it gluten-free? I don't think so. Making gluten-free breads is a whole different art that I'm just not up with. It's a pleasure, Vanessa. Nice to have you here. So no, I wouldn't. And what would you want to put in it if you want to shake it up a bit? If you want something, you could put seeds in it. I mean, that would be nice. You could try some wholemeal flour. I did try, what I wanted to do is to make a dark rye version of this, okay? Imagine that if you happen to have some pastrami in your fridge and you happen to want to make a pastrami sandwich and you didn't have any rye bread, could you make this into rye? The problem is I've been having trouble the last few weeks finding dark rye flour. I found rye flour, which is not dark and it didn't have enough flavor. I made it and it was okay. So I'm on the hunt for dark rye flour, and I'm going to work on that quick dark soda bread and see if it works. Is it good piping hot, or does it need to cool? I'd say most things are not good piping hot, but I wouldn't mind when this loaf comes out of the oven to cut off the crust at the end and put a big smear of butter on it and eat it. So this I would definitely try. And then I'd let the rest of the loaf cool down a little bit to eat it warm. That's my thoughts on it. you know, it's really a personal thing. I hate hot cake, by the way. Unless it's a pudding, I don't want to eat a cake that's hot. I want it to be room temperature. Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you. It's been lovely to have you here. It's been lovely to have you all here. I think it's time to go now. I could just stand here. I'm really enjoying talking to you, to be honest. I could just stay here and chat. But I think I should let you go, and your bread is going to be ready in about 5 minutes if you are cooking along with me. And please post on Instagram Monday Morning CC or hashtag Monday Morning Cooking Club so that I can see what your soda breads look like. I love the pictures of your toasts. Speaking of toasts, just so you see, this is the toast that I made yesterday in our video in our class, and then I finished both loaves, and I just made them, and they're going to sit there in my container for probably a week, and they're super crunchy. You can hear it's really good. All right, that's it from me. I am signing off now, and good luck everybody, lockdown or otherwise. Hang in there. We're all in it together anyway, those of us that are in lockdown, and we'll just keep on cooking. I'm here for you, okay? And I'm going to keep on cooking till we're out of lockdown, and then we'll talk.